Good morning, Kip One Primary. This is Mr. Jennings, and this is the start of our class this week. Remember, this month we're celebrating all that is history, focused on a lot of different Black heroes that have done different things for us to be successful in our lives. Remember, we start everything with our hope values. Hope stands for honor, optimism, perseverance, enthusiasm, and love. Stands for honor, optimism, perseverance, enthusiasm, and love. This month, we are focusing on the value of love. We're doing everything from a place of love. When you're showing a place, coming from a place of love, you're showing that you care and you're doing kind things. We have a little passage that we're going to all read together at the bottom. So repeat after me. Love. I love myself because I am beautiful and wonderfully made. I love myself because there is nobody in this world like me. I was made to be who I am, and I love who I am. I love my community because we are one team and one family. I love everyone because our differences make us unique, and our similarities connect us to one another. And if you need support reading these, you can ask for a parent to pause it, or you can pause it yourself and have a parent read it with you or somebody older, because we always want to self affirm ourselves. Let yourself know that you love yourself, and you can let others know that you love yourself. And we know that we love our community, our homes, our world, and we want to be kind and show love in all that we do. Learning objectives. Gifters will be able to learn about Garrett Morgan. Gifters will also be able to make connections from the past and apply them to the present. Gifters will be able to understand identity is dynamic, complex, and personal, and it affects both how we see ourselves and how we interact with others. Some vocabulary that we are learning this month. Racism. Racism is when a person treats you worse based on the color of your skin. Inequality, which means not fair. Equality means fair. Segregation. In these lessons, when we say the word segregation, we're talking about blacks on one side and whites on the other. Let's say all of these words together. You'll repeat after me. Racism, inequality, equality, segregation. One more time. Racism has to do with our skin. Inequality, not fair. Equality, fair. Segregation, that means blacks on one end and whites on the other. They, in these times, they often segregated blacks from whites. Let's join into our lesson. We learned about Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., some of his ideals, and about his I Have a Dream speech. Ideals of MLK. MLK wanted to show love, not hate. He also believed in turning the other cheek. He believed in freedom and equality. He was also non-violent. He did not believe in violence. His greatest weapon was his voice, and he used his voice to fight unjust law. This week, we're going to be talking about inventions. Inventions are important because they are used to make life easier, safer, and a lot of times better. People are always looking for new inventions and ways to make life easier, safer, and in most times better. You guys are the future, and your ideas can be the next invention. So your ideas spark new inventions. So all of the inventions that you hear about, someone had an idea, and then they tested their idea out with the scientific method, which we'll talk more about in later dates. But they use this method to test if their idea is going to work, and then they invent that. And we've seen inventions, whether we know it or not, every day. So one invention, and this invention isn't created by a black person, but I know that you all know what this is. These are cell phones. So right here we have cell phones, and we can see from the first cell phone all the way on the left, all the way to newer cell phones, all the way on the right. And this is just like a base model. We know cell phones, even though they look like they have more things available for us. So we talk about this first cell phone. It was super big. It wasn't able to fit in your pocket. Also, the next three phones, so these 1, 2, 3 phones, they're super big phones that couldn't fit in your pockets. But through inventions and evolution, because people wanted to make cell phones better, we see that they got smaller and they had better things on it. So when Mr. Jennings was younger, when I was around you guys' age, like an iPhone wasn't around, and we didn't have like apps and games on our phone and Wi-Fi and internet, and we couldn't surf the web and go on YouTube. We couldn't do any of those things on a cell phone. We would have to go to a desktop or a computer to try to go to YouTube or to search something up. We weren't able to just get our cell phones and then search those things up. So your cell phones are something that are still new, and people are inventing new ways to make cell phones safer, easier, and better around the world. So we can see the evolution of the cell phone right here. We see them super old, super big. They start to slim up. They get a little bit smaller to those flip phones. Mr. Jennings had this Razr phone when I was in high school, but now all the way here, we have iPhones and Androids that can do almost anything. Like they have so much information at the tip of your fingers, which we always didn't have. And your parents, when they were younger, I'm sure that they didn't have iPhones and Androids as well. So that's an invention that people made better. So the inventor that we're going to be talking about this week is Garrett Morgan. Everybody say Garrett Morgan. Garrett Morgan was an American inventor who was African American. Two of his most notable inventions were the smoke hood and the three-position traffic light. Again, this week we're learning about Garrett Morgan. Everybody again say Garrett Morgan. Garrett Morgan, very good. These are his two most notable inventions at the bottom, the smoke hood and the three-position traffic light. So the traffic light like we see on the streets, the red, yellow, green, he was one of the people who created the traffic light. So there were traffic lights before, but there were just two lights. He made it when there to have three different lights, the red, the yellow, and the green. So we know what these three lights mean. We know red means stop, very good. Yellow means very good, go slower. And we know the best one is green. Green means to go, very good. Green means to go. So he created that three-position traffic light to incorporate the yellow. Who can tell me, why do you think the yellow light is so important? I want you to take a second and think. I'm going to take some thinking time. Get ready, go. All right, who can tell me, why do you think the yellow light is so important? Because it tells us to slow down. And we know it's important to slow down because if it just went from green to red, people would stop super hard, and then that can cause accidents. Or when they are driving, they won't know when the red is coming. The yellow often tells us to slow down, but we also know that right after yellow is going to be red, which means to stop. And that helps us prepare to stop instead of just stopping super quick. So how did Garrett Morgan's invention improve the traffic light? So before, we just red and green. We have red, we have green, but he created it to have three different colors on the traffic light, which was red, yellow, and green. And we just talked about why the yellow is so important. It helps us slow down before we get to that red, instead of just going super fast and then stopping at the red. We're going to watch a video to think about why the traffic light is important. Let's see why it is important. So as we watch that video, why do you think it is important for us to have traffic lights? I'm going to give you guys some thinking time to think about why that is important. It keeps us safe. So like we said, we don't want to stop super fast, and we also need something to help us know when the red light is coming. From that video, we seen that they were not able to go through traffic safely. That was unsafe to be on that street. You seen people walking, you seen cars driving, you seen bikes riding, you seen motorcycles riding, but no traffic lights to tell people when to stop, when to go, who can walk, who cannot walk. So anyone can be hurt at any time. Now that we talked about the traffic light, next is the gas mask. I'm going to give you guys some thinking time. Why do you think a smoke hood or gas mask is important? Take a couple seconds to think. All right, lock in your answer. 3, 2, 1. 3, 2, 1. Let's see if your answers are right. Why is it important to have a smoke hood or gas mask? So to answer that question, I have a scenario. Right here, we have fire and smoke inside of a house. We have fire and smoke inside of a house. I wonder what's going to happen in this scenario. I want you to think about why a gas or smoke hood is needed in a fire and smoke inside house, and why a gas or smoke hood is important when there's fire and smoke inside of a house. To help us, we're going to watch a video seeing a fire and smoke inside of a house and see what they might be wearing. And I want you to continuously think, why is it important to have a gas or smoke hood while you're in one of these buildings if you guys choose to be firefighters?
The way here. Stand here. When you start coming through the rough out there. Oh, Emma. All right, Mark, whenever. Here, we're gonna back up a little more.
How did Garrett Morgan's invention improve firefighting? So in that video, we seen that there was a fire, there was smoke all around. We seen them with the smoke hood or gas mask, whichever one you want to call it. Why is that important though? We had our answers, and we can tell that we know that the smoke hood and the gas mask makes it easier for us to breathe, and it also keeps your airways safe, because if you breathe in too much smoke, you can have trouble breathing. You can also potentially hurt yourself from breathing in too much smoke. So which one of these firefighters do you think would be the best firefighter to go inside of a burning or smoky house? Firefighter 1 with the gas or smoke hood, or firefighter 2 without the smoke or gas mask? Very good. Firefighter 1, because he has that smoke hood that Garrett Morgan invented, he is able to go in without hurting himself. He can go in and the smoke does not go into his nose and goes into his lungs because he has a gas mask to help him breathe. So wrapping up, we talked about the I Have a Dream speech, and I had you guys send me in different videos and writings of a dream that you guys have. And this can be a dream that goes from your home to your community to our country to our world. It can be however small or big you want your dream to be. I'm going to give us some examples. Next week speeches, I want videos. So I'm going to take all the videos and make one big video with everyone's I Have a Dream part. So thank you guys for the people who wrote them down. But if you can also send me a video of you reading it, So all you have to do is take your phone, have your parents record you saying it or reading it, and then send it to Mr. Jennings, and you can be back in the drawing to win our prize this week. I have a lot of different friends who won the prize this week. We're going to see a couple of their examples, so you can be in next week and also send me a video of your dream that you created for our school, for your community, for the country, however you want to put your dream out there.
I have a dream that one day there will be no corona and we will all live in a world of peace. I have a dream that one day there will be no corona and we will all live in a world of peace. I have a dream. I had a dream that one day everybody would get along.
So Jennings, this is Isaiah Franklin, and I have a dream that something that I want to change in our community and in our world. So Jennings, this is Isaiah Franklin, and I have a dream that. So Jennings, this is Isaiah Franklin, and I have a dream that something that I want to change in our community and in our world is to have all these mean people to stop doing bad things, and I want them to treat people goodly and stop hurting Black people and stuff like that, and cops to stop hitting on people with their batons that they use. That's what I would like to change in our community and in our world. Bye.
Here is a bunch of our different friends who sent me in some of the I Have a Dream speeches that they wrote themselves, which were super awesome and a way to be a part of our prizes this week. Also, we're going to see some videos, and the videos are what we're going to be mainly doing for the next week. So even if you send me in what you wrote down, read this to me, and you can be in the drawing again for next week to win a prize again, which will be super exciting. Learning objectives. So in this lesson, learning objectives. In this lesson, kids were able to learn about Garrett Morgan. Kids will also be able to make connections from the past and apply them to the present. Kids were also able to understand that identity is dynamic, complex, and personal, and it affects both how we see ourselves and how we interact with others. Finally, work submission. You can submit all of your works to cjennings@kipchicago.org. So I want you to make a video of your I Have a Dream speech. So don't write it. Give me a video of it for this week so we can do our big I Have a Dream video kind of movie. So you're going to send a video of something that you want to change in your home, community, or world. You will start off with saying, I have a dream that blank, just like we've seen in the 3 videos that I just showed you guys. So see you guys next week. Glad we're able to learn about inventors and also get our dreams ready to make the world a better place.